Pick your class and
earn your battle points.
Because it's time for the Star Wars Battlefront podcast.
This episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast is brought to you by our patrons on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/Battlefront podcast to help support this show. We're also brought to you by our PayPal supporters, paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep, TYEDYESHEEP.
Welcome to episode 100 of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, joined by my brother and co-host, Sam Goodwin.
Hello.
And this, our 100th episode, we'll be listening to listener call-ins and messages, going over the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta details, all that is in the beta, and much more.
Let's get started.
To start off, let's listen in to the This is Star Wars Battlefront 2 trailer.
Hi players, this is John Boyega, and this is Star Wars Battlefront 2. Whether dominating the multiplayer Battlefront as Kylo Ren, leading your squadron through thrilling dogfights in space, stepping into the boots of Iden Versio in a new single-player campaign, or mastering your skills in split-screen arcade, this is a Star Wars experience like none other, with greater depth and progression than ever before. Star Wars Battlefront 2 has nearly triple the number of locations, heroes, and vehicles as its predecessor. It all starts with the Battlefront. Camino, Yavin 4, Fondor, Starkiller Base, and many more. Over 14 locations to explore across all three Star Wars eras. Star Wars Battlefront 2 introduces class gameplay. Choose from the Assault, Heavy, Specialists, and Officer classes, each with unique abilities, weapons, and weapon attachments that give you an edge in battle. But it's not all about the power of the individual. The better you play with your team, the more battle points you'll earn to call in powerful reinforcements, such as flame troopers or Wookiees, and a wide range of vehicles, both on the ground and in the air. Battle points are also key to bringing iconic Star Wars heroes into battle. From Darth Maul, Boba Fett, and Rey.
You want to fight?
Each hero has unique abilities for you to customize and master. Choose the right moment to call in your hero and turn the tide. And last but not least, we have starfighters. Just like troopers, each starfighter has a class. And just like battle points bring your favorite heroes into battle, they can also bring in your favorite hero ships, including the iconic Millennium Falcon, all with unique handling and upgradable abilities. The Star Card system has been completely rebuilt. These powerful collectibles exist for everything you can spawn in as, be it a trooper, a vehicle, reinforcement, or hero. You can find them in crates, or craft and upgrade them using parts. The rarer the tier of card, the more powerful its effect in battle.
Signatures locked.
Choose the right Star Card for the right situation, and get ready to fight. Star Wars Battlefront 2 contains 5 different multiplayer modes. Blast, fast-paced, close-quarters combat. Strike, strategic, objective-based battles.
Look sharp!
Heroes versus villains, where iconic Star Wars characters go head-to-head. Starfighter Assault, intense dogfights across high atmosphere and space. And Galactic Assault, epic 20 versus 20 all-out warfare. Not ready for multiplayer yet? No problem. Perfect your skills and try out all your abilities offline. Play split-screen co-op, versus, or solo, and earn rewards. Star Wars Battlefront 2 single-player campaign debuts an untold story.
The Emperor is dead.
Helping bridge the events of the Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
So what happens now?
We retaliate, Commander.
As Iden Versio, a Special Forces soldier as equally lethal on the ground as she is in space, you'll fight for the future of the Empire in a galaxy breaking apart.
Burn 'em up!
With a few familiar faces along the way, it's up to you to rise as a new Star Wars hero. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a massive world, and it's only getting bigger. With a live service that continues to evolve and grow, bringing new locations, challenges, and characters, such as Finn, of course, and Captain Phasma, into the fray. Heroes are born on the battlefront. This holiday, jump in with me and begin your journey.
The beta is happening, Sam.
It is.
It is a glorious, glorious thing.
Majestic.
Majestic. And to celebrate, I have a new microphone. Which is why I may sound different. I probably sound different. And Sam has my old microphone, so he definitely sounds different.
Yes.
Or would you say it sounds different or just higher quality, right?
I'm going to say in between.
In between. So higher quality and different. I'm using the Electro Voice RE320 now with this fancy new shock mount. So if I shake the table, it doesn't vibrate the microphone. It's very, very awesome. But it's our 100th episode and the beta's out. It is amazing timing. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. Best of both worlds.
Yes. The #1 Star Wars Battlefront podcast.
And the #1 Star Wars Battlefront 2 game.
Yes. The #1 Star Wars game right now.
Both of them are one of a kind.
Yes. You can go nowhere else and find this podcast. And to celebrate, we asked you, the listeners, to call in, recording a message on your phone, and sending it to us. And we will now play the first one from the Bros of Battlefront.
Hello, Battlefront Podcast. This is John, the Vintage Geek, producer and host of the Super Awesome Geek Show podcast. And together with my brother Mark, we are the Bros of Battlefront. We'd like to say hello to everyone out there, all your listeners, to the Battlefront Podcast, and just say thank you guys so much for the awesome shows and content. The interviews and guests that you guys have been getting have been amazing. And even though we're new to the Star Wars Battlefront community, my brother and I have been big Star Wars fans ever since we first saw A New Hope back in 1977. And we've been playing Battlefront on the PS4 since the beta, and we just can't wait to get our blasters firing in Star Wars Battlefront 2. So we just want to say thanks a lot for welcoming us Bros of Battlefront into the Star Wars Battlefront community. Everyone we've met so far has been awesome and very welcoming. So we just want to say thanks a lot, everyone. May the Force be with you. We'll see you October 4th in the beta, and again November 14th when we're all playing the full game. Alright, we're out of here. May the Force be with you. And remember, always keep it geeky out there, everyone. See you later. Keep your blasters firing.
That is awesome. Thank you for the amazing call-in. What'd you think, Sam?
That was awesome.
Yes, it is so awesome to hear listeners of the podcast.
Fellow Battlefrontians.
Fellow Battlefrontians. Friends of the show. Now let's listen into our second call-in. And we also have a new intro for our SWBP, Star Wars Battlefront podcast. And that new intro was just played at the beginning of this podcast with Paul Kesslin re-recording it. Just got that in today. Thank you so much, Paul. He listens to the podcast. Shout out to Paul Kesslin. We just did an invisible fist bump.
An audio fist bump.
An audio fist bump. Okay, let's listen.
Hey Sam and Sage, it's C7 Jodan, and before I really start this, I'm just going to say that everyone listening needs to join your Discord. It's an amazing place to be able to get extra perks if you're a Patreon, to be able to share and to get Star Wars Battlefront news, and also a great place to team up with people to play Battlefront, and also an even better place to be able to talk with other members of their community. And so I would definitely suggest that you join it. There should be a link to the Discord in the bio of wherever you're listening to the podcast. And so now that's done, I'm going to ask you guys my question on Battlefront 2. So Sage and Sam, my question for you guys is, what is one thing from the old Battlefronts that you wish that you could add to this new one? For me, personally, it's gotta be Galactic Conquest, just because that's really what sparked my interest back in Battlefront 2. I remember my cousin showing me this awesome Star Wars game that one night we literally played, I want to say 13 hours straight. It was a little unhealthy, but it was so fun. And that's just something I wish that they would add. I know they won't, but you can always dream. So now I'm going to go, and I just want to say that thank you guys for making such a great podcast, and congrats on 100 episodes.
Thank you very much, Jodons. That was a great message. I'm really glad that we opened these messages up. And this was a suggestion in our Discord. Like you said, you should definitely go check out the Discord. The link will be in the description for this podcast. Now, the question that he posed, what would we add into Battlefront 2 from the previous Battlefront games?
Me personally, I would like to see Assault. Just the, massive hero battles. It's kind of like heroes versus villains on steroids. No, they don't care about canon. It's just like Vader versus Padme. It's so random and awesome.
So, what's the name of that game mode with all the heroes?
Assault.
Assault.
I believe.
Hero Assault?
No, just Assault.
Just Assault.
I think that's the name.
But basically Hero Blast, but with multiples of the same hero.
Yeah,
villain.
it's a little more massive.
Yeah, I would like to see Hunt added. Hunt, where you could play as a Wampa.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Against all of the rebels.
That would be awesome.
That would be so much fun. That the original Battlefront, Battlefront 2015, we speculated upon that it would be coming in the game, just because they had teases. If you go on the Hoth map, you can hear Wampas in one of the rooms.
And you can actually see a Wampa.
Yes. Frozen in the ice. Right?
No.
Okay, you go into an ice cave on the outskirts of a map.
And there's a Wampa eating like a tauntaun.
Yes. So they've teased it a lot. I would love to see that added into Battlefront 2.
I think the Frozen thing you were talking about was like some weird Easter egg.
Oh yeah,
that
was a stormtrooper.
It was like a stormtrooper or a tauntaun frozen in ice.
Yeah. So we will be getting tauntauns in Battlefront 2.
Yes.
Let's see here. We have 4 text questions for episode 100. Sector is not clear. Do you think Star Wars Battlefront 2 will have a high player base through 6 months, even if DICE does not add that much free content? 6 months without free content. First of all, that's not going to happen. But if it did happen, I do think that Battlefront 2 has the mass to sustain itself for 6 months.
Yeah, as you said, it's not going to happen because they're going to do
a
more
month,
frequent intervals.
A month after the game comes out, they launch their first live season.
Yeah, but I want to say, I haven't been really having trouble getting into lobbies, even at this early access. I mean, there was a couple of times where where I would be waiting, like, and I might play a game of arcade just to kill the time. But for the most part, this is just people that pre-ordered the game.
Yeah.
And it's that much, that many people in lobbies, and that's just on PS4 that I've experienced. So if this keeps up, I think the player base is going to not drop as much as the Battlefront 2015.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to drop because Battlefront 2015 was such a skeleton of a game at launch that people were like, okay, I don't really want to stick around to get the full effect, because at the end of the game, you could not say that it was a skeleton. At the end of Battlefront 2015's life, it was a full game. But a lot of people didn't stick around long enough to see that come to fruition. And the only game mode that I've had trouble getting into is Starfighter Assault. You have to wait a long time, but once you actually get into a lobby and you want to stick with playing Starfighter Assault, you will be able to keep on going.
And that's just for the fact there's not a lot of, Fighter Squadron fans. Not as much as a ground assault.
Yeah. Spaceship combat, vehicle combat is something that is suited just for certain types.
Yeah, I'm not saying
of players.
There's not those people out there, but I'd say like 1 in every 5 people that play the game like Fighter Squadron as their favorite game mode. Something along those lines, maybe 1 in 10, because it was very underplayed in Battlefront 2015, and as you said, it might be even underplayed in this game, which is kind of a shame since Criterion put their blood, sweat, and tears into this.
Yeah, the Starfighter gameplay is solid.
I have not played it quite yet because I've just been obsessed with the Galactic Assault.
Yeah, I took a break from Strike, which we'll get into later, and all the things that come into play with the beta. But I think Strike is a worthy successor to Cargo. It has captured me around the same way. It's not Cargo, but it has captured me the same way Cargo did in Battlefront 2015.
Next question.
Rodrigo Bessa, he used to do a Battlefront podcast in Brazil. He says, "Hi, I don't have a question, just want to tell Paul Kesslin that me and my Brazilian friends are eager to play Battlefront 2. Then we have Sean O'Brien. If you could choose one weapon or star card not to carry over from Battlefront 1, what would it be and why? For me, it's the back-to-bomb. Nothing more frustrating than when you are about to finish someone off and they are saved by the blue mist all at the last second."
Just to be different, I'd probably say back-to-bomb, but I want to say disruption.
Disruption.
That's annoying as crap.
Disruption is very annoying.
And the disruption of this game is that stupid officer flash grenade.
And for new listeners, for new people to Battlefront 2, disruption, once you activated it, it overheated every single weapon in a perimeter around the character. So if you got hit with a disruption, you would not be able to shoot for around 2 seconds, and then you were in the cooldown section, so you had to actually press the cooldown button.
And the star card of Battlefront 2 beta that I dislike the most is the officer's flash grenade. Thing's broken. You can't see for 10 seconds straight, so all I do is shoot blindly and roll.
I think the star card I would rather not be in Battlefront 2 is Dioxis grenade.
That's annoying. I might actually change mine to flash grenade. That means it wouldn't exist in this game. It's like Han Solo just being out of the carbonite.
You're just blind. Thank you, Sean, Rodrigo, and Sector's not clear for those questions. We have one last one, and then we're going to get into beta.
Or for those British
beta
listeners, beta.
Yes, beta. getting the sweet betas. Shout out to Gregory. I know you you find it annoying that we say beta instead of beta. Shadow Stride, he is he basically runs as well as Jodan's our Discord.
Shout out to him.
He is an amazing guy. He has done everything for the Discord. I'm just like, hey, I have this cool idea, and he's like, okay, I'll look into that, and then he usually makes it happen. But he asks, or he says, I would leave an audio, but I have a really bad cold and I have school. Perfect to play Battlefront 2017 by playing Battlefront 2 2005. A little bit of news on that. Disney actually brought back the multiplayer for that on PC.
I saw that.
So you can, if you have Battlefront 2 from 2005, you can actually play that online with people now. So that's how I prep. He says that's how I prep for every new Battlefront game. I compare the new ones to the old ones. Played alpha, decided to pre-order then. Love you guys. You are really good hosts, and I love supporting the podcast by modding in the Discord. I have a YouTube channel. Look up Shadow Stride, capital S. On both of those, caps and spelling have to be correct. Thank you so much for the questions and comments, everyone. Battlefront community is incredible. Our podcast listeners are the best ever. Only cool people listen to podcasts. Now, after a short break, we are going to talk about the beta.
You're listening to the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast, a podcast from the Tie-Dye Sheep Entertainment Podcast Network, a network dedicated to bringing content as great and as weird as the hosts. If you'd like to support us on a Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/battlefrontpodcast. You can donate $1 up to $10, and we have different tiers for that. So if you'd like to support the show and get some exclusive content, because we'll be doing bonus shows there, you can support us through that link. And at $1 per month, you have the ability to come on the podcast if you so desire.
Okay, Sam, we're going to go over the information in the beta before we actually get into our first impressions. Hold your horses. I know that we both want to share our thoughts on the beta, but we will have to wait so we can get all of the information out. On Battlefront 2's website, battlefront2.com, they made some posts regarding the beta. Star Wars Battlefront 2 Multiplayer Beta. The Star Wars Battlefront 2 multiplayer beta is here. Get ready to battle enemies in multi-stage galactic assault, take on swarms of AI foes in arcade, join squadrons of friends in starfighter assault, and maximize your trooper skills in 8v8 strike missions. Early access. So in Battlefront 2, they have daily challenges available. And here are the daily challenges. The pre-order ones aren't very relevant now that the beta is, or the pre-order early access is over. So I'll just go over the open beta content. October 6th, arcade challenges. Win arcade while defeating 30 enemies. Complete 3 arcade scenarios to earn rewards. On October 7th, Galactic Assault challenges. Play a round of Galactic Assault, defeat 20 enemies while playing as a reinforcement, and play as and defeat a trooper, a reinforcement, a hero, and a villain to earn rewards. October 8th and the 9th, Starfighter Assault challenges. In Starfighter Assault, become a hero ship, destroy 5 turrets and 5 objectives, and get a savior kill assist 25 times to earn rewards. The reason you're doing these things is because in Battlefront 2, you will get a special crate only available to people who played the beta, and which is really cool. A lot of the times in betas, nothing carries over, so you're just playing for fun to see if you want to play the game or buy the game. But this time, if you do plan on buying the game, you will have something that carries over from the beta, which is really cool.
Yeah, especially just because from the rewards that I've gotten have been loot crates, which is just exhilarating to open, actually. They're a lot of fun. Getting that Boba Fett card warms my heart.
We will get to Boba Fett in just a little bit. Thanks for playing. Carry rewards over to the full release. Founders Crate. Everyone who plays the beta will receive a specially curated Founders Crate filled with goodies as a thank you from the developers, including credits, an exclusive emote for Darth Maul, and a rare Trooper Star card to give them a head start in the battle. So this is the stuff that's in the beta. Multiplayer battles, Galactic Assault, defend Naboo as a clone trooper, or join the ranks of the Separatists and storm the Royal Palace. Utilize 4 distinct trooper classes, call in reinforcements, pilot vehicles, and become a hero.
They mean use one distinct class, which is Heavy.
Heavy?
Yep, that's the only class there. Heavy and Officer are really the only classes.
I like Assault.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. Spoilers.
Space Combat, Starfighter Assault. In Starfighter Assault, race as the Rebel Alliance to destroy a Star Destroyer over Fondor, or rally as the Galactic Empire to defend it. I played a little bit of it, a few matches, and it was really fun.
It really doesn't matter what planet you're over. It's really just space.
Okay, 8 versus 8 and single player, Strike and Arcade. In Strike, join a team of First Order troopers or resistant fighters in team battles around Maz's castle. In Arcade, engage in single-player scenarios in Theed, capital of Naboo. Strike really needs like 5 pages of this kind of stuff, because Strike is the best game mode.
Bad thing about Strike is it kind of miniaturizes Maz's castle. Seems a lot smaller. Seems so big in the movie.
Well, the First Order have destroyed it because of their monsters, as all Imperial scum are. So, what's in the beta? Boba Fett. These are the heroes: Boba Fett, Han Solo, Darth Maul, Rey.
And that's it.
That's it. That's in the beta. There are going to be, what is it, 8 heroes? 14?
14 heroes.
14 heroes
At launch.
At launch, with more to come. This is just what's in the beta. And keep in mind, this is the beta. This is not fully representative of the whole game once it launches.
Yeah, we still have a month.
Yeah. And a lot can happen in a month. The ships are, these are the hero ships: Millennium Falcon, Maul Scimitar, my favorite vehicle in Star Wars, Slave One, and Poe's X-Wing. The weapons are the DC-15A and the CR-2 for the Assault. The Heavy has the DC-15, the FWMB-10K. The Officer has the DC-17 and the Blurg 1120. And the Specialist has the Valken 38X and the A280 CFE. And the special classes you can get are the Enforcer, which are the special classes like the Wookiee Warrior or the Flame Trooper. And the Aerial, which are the jump troopers for both sides of the battle. I have a preference towards the jump trooper just because the Flame Trooper has some damage issues right now.
Yeah. Seems to do no damage at all. He's supposed to be a close quarters character, but even...
You can't really get close quarters.
Even when you're close quarters, it doesn't do a lot of damage. He has absolutely no long range. So it's either you get close or you die.
Yeah. The vehicles included in the beta are the LAAT, which is the transport ship for the clones. The ATST, which is a mini walker for the clones. The V-Wing, the BTL-A4Y, the TIE Fighter, the X-Wing, the A-Wing, the Bomber. There is a droid tank. I cannot remember the name.
The MTT?
Not the MTT, the smaller tank.
Oh.
It is a very iconic vehicle that is escaping my mind right now. But that's what's included in the beta. Now let's get an overall view on it. It is that time, Sam. So we're trying to do 3 episodes this week, 1 every 2 days. And we'll get into the nitty-gritty of things. But this is our first impressions. We've played 2 days worth, very off and on. What are your thoughts on Battlefront 2, Sam?
It's just as good as I remembered from EA Play. There's some minor things that I think they shouldn't have changed.
Like what?
Like Rey's jump seems to be nerfed. She seems to be nerfed for some reason. She's extremely slow. I mean, the only good thing about her in the pre-alpha was her jump, which they seem to have taken away. And it seems like she used to, when you would just press X to jump once. Now you have to hold it down. I don't like that. Same with Maul, but that's understandable. As gameplay wise, I wish the game mode would last longer. It seems to be very spotty. One time, the clones will win super fast. Droids will win super fast. They'll win at random times in mid-game. I mean, they just need to balance it more to the sides and make it to where it pushes to the throne room.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people saying that since it is the biggest game mode in Battlefront 2, it should be longer. And I felt the same way. Like, sometimes I'm just playing and
you get 4,000 battle points, you win or lose, you don't get the hero.
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, I just earned all these credits and didn't get a chance to spend them. And it's not because I was terrible and didn't got my credits over a long period of time. It's because
it's short.
The round ended so fast.
Class-wise, they seemed a little more balanced than before. The heavy seems to be nerfed really heavily. I mean, his blaster seems...
It's not bad. Like, when you hear, oh, it's nerfed heavily, it's not really
like so bad. It's still the best class in my opinion. Officer definitely got some buffs that it needed.
Assault as well. Like, Assault is now, like, we had comments on the pre-alpha build saying that the Assault didn't feel like the class you would recommend to someone just starting into Battlefront 2.
Yeah, heavy is really. Assault, they seem to have changed a lot of the star cards. I remember it having like a scattergun ability rather than, the reload time being so long like a shotgun. I don't know, that seems to have changed. And the Specialist had a laser trip mine, didn't it?
Yeah, it's available through an upgrade now.
Okay. Well, moving on to Specialist. I mean, it's all right. It's not like the sniper class that I wanted.
The problem with Specialist is the game modes and maps that we have currently do not fit the Specialist at all. I love the Specialist. Like, it is my favorite class. It's the class I have the most fun playing as. But you can't really play it to its best abilities on the maps available.
Yeah, even the first phase of Naboo Galactic Assault, it's kind of close quarters. And obviously, Specialist is a sniper class, but its abilities seem to be fairly balanced.
Yeah.
So it's a solid game. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be some critiques for anything.
Yeah, I haven't really run into glitches at all, which is surprising for a beta. The only one that I've noticed right now is the LAAT, the transport ship. I bought that power up, and it is very, very jerky. It runs the same way as the U-Wings in the Rogue One DLC. And if for new players and new listeners, the Rogue One DLC had a U-Wing that you activated, and it was on rails. So it would go on this trek around the map, go around this trek above the map, and
you had a chance to like shoot the ground.
Yeah, you got to shoot the ground, but this one, or shoot at the ground and try and get people, aim for the objectives and trying to catch someone off guard. This one, it seems like they've still got some work to do because it's very jerky. Like, that one was very smooth in its movement, but this one seems like, it's going on this trek, but you may be aiming this way and then suddenly it'll jerk the other way. It definitely needs some work. That's about the only thing I've run into, have had a problem with.
Yeah, it's a solid game. My favorite part is I'm more partial to the droids than the clones from this game.
Why is that?
They're just more fun, and plus they're the villains. They have Darth Maul and Boba Fett available. Plus they're just so much fun. They have better dialogue, in my opinion.
I love the droid dialogue. Oh no!
And then at the beginning of the map, it feels like you're in a Star Wars movie with all the people running around.
Yeah, they've added so much stuff since the pre-alpha.
It's like
there
they
are
just
people running around.
They just sent in a platoon of droids and caught all the Naboo citizens off guard.
It's so awesome. One last note on the droid dialogue. They were my team was running towards to get the disruptors, stop the clones from getting the disruptors. On Attack on Theed, you have the first phase, which is the clones trying to destroy the MTT with disruptors. And one of the droids was like, "Oh well, those disruptors do work."
Yeah, I've heard that a couple times.
It was so funny. Like, I was laughing out loud as I was playing that.
Let's move on a little bit about the heroes.
Yeah, we were going to do a whole episode focused on heroes.
Yeah, but this is first impressions. So let's
first impressions.
Touch. I've played every hero on both sides since the beta released.
And I have not. Every single time I got enough credits around it.
Have you even gotten one?
No, I played Boba Fett on pre-alpha.
You haven't gotten any heroes since the beta came out?
I've been playing Strike like 24/7.
Yeah, well, I've gotten Boba Fett, I want to say like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. Darth Maul once, Rey once, Han Solo once.
Nice.
So far, my favorite's been Boba Fett.
Boba Fett is great again.
Yeah, he's a completely balanced hero. Darth Maul's a little overpowered.
Still.
Yeah, still. But for me, I'm not really good with Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Just because I've only played him once. I mean, if I put in the effort and picked him every time, I would get better. But just Boba Fett's more fun for me. So I picked Boba Fett, which has become my main hero. I just touched on a little bit about Darth Maul. He's still broken. Needs to be nerfed a little bit. His health is just too high. His mobility is crazy. It seems like if you catch a platoon of clones off guard from behind, even if there's 7 of them, you can take them out easily. So the villain side is balanced. If Darth Maul gets a little bit of tweaking. Moving on to the hero side, Rey is trash. Han Solo is kind of trash. Rey is slow as all get out. I mean, her jump is slow. She's slow.
What's really weird is in the pre-alpha, everyone was complaining about Rey, about she being underpowered, and now in
You'd
the beta,
think they would buff.
I'm guessing in the alpha they buffed her too much, and then in the beta they decided to nerf her more.
Possibly.
That's my guess. I've not played the beta. I've not played the alpha, and if I had, I would not say anything because that would be breaking NDA, the non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Rey, she needs some buffs. Just her running speed, and she'd be all right. Han Solo, he's fun, but he's just so weak. I mean, even a normal trooper could take him out. And when it comes down to it, Darth Maul or Boba Fett can take him out without breaking a sweat. His abilities seem unoriginal. I mean, he has his det pack, which is all right. He has 2 abilities that were completely taken from Battlefront 2015.
As it should be. They shouldn't redo the whole character just because
I'm not talking about redoing, just tweak it a tad, not just adding a generic bomb ability. His shoulder charge needs to be changed to be fast. It's a charge, not a slow walk. And has no range at all. So on the heroes side, definitely needs some work.
As is usual, like every single time that we've had,
DICE does not seem to be able to get heroes right.
Because everyone at DICE loves the villains.
And I understand. I mean, the Sith obviously should be overpowered, but this is a game. It's not the movies, the cinematic universe. It's supposed to be a balanced game where a player at entry level can come in and pick up the game and improve and not have broken villains that win every single round of heroes versus villains.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a video game. It should be balanced. If we were going on the movies,
then yeah, give Darth Maul extra health.
Yeah,
extra
Darth Maul
mobility.
Would destroy everyone.
Just because the Sith, are few and far between.
You cannot kill a Sith.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Maybe I don't want to say that overpowered heroes will balance out the underpowered heroes, because that's not how it should work. Every hero should be able to hold its own somewhat.
The rock paper scissors technique that they were supposed to add, that they're adding to Battlefront 2, doesn't seem to be coming into play in the beta.
All. You would think that if they added 2 heroes on each side, they would have, say, Rey beats Boba Fett, or Darth Maul beats Han, and then Rey beats Maul, and then Boba Fett beats Han. It doesn't work like that. It's basically Maul beats everyone, and Han and Rey lose to everyone.
If you're good with Rey, you can hold your own.
It's true. But I'm talking about both players at any skill level that picked up both of those and fought out.
So complete noobs picked up, one person picked up a...
Obviously, I said Maul is going to win.
Yeah. Two people with the same amount of skill in shooters or Battlefront pick Rey and Maul. Maul's going to win.
Yeah, and really in any fighting game, as long as you learn the matchup, you can win. Like, say, a Maul, he's really strong he's really headstrong up front. He can sneak around with Rey to take him out and be smart, play smart. Battlefront 2 is a real defensive game.
It is. Battlefront 2015 was one of those games.
Really aggressive.
It was an aggressive game mode. You were running towards the objective. You're trying to find kills this whole time. I am rewiring my brain right now to work towards the more defensive game mode. You do not want to rush into a room.
And that's what I do a lot, because I'm so used to doing it in Battlefront 2015. Because depending on how good you are, you can take on any amount of troops.
Yeah, no matter who you are, really.
As long as you get the sneak up, and that's another thing. Running speeds are really slow, which means you can't really do sneak attacks and massive amount of kills. I'm not saying it's impossible.
The most kills you get are from killing people from behind.
It's a real team-based game.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest complaints about Battlefront 2015, is it didn't feel like, oh, I'm with my squad rolling up.
I get the most kills when my team is pushing a haul and all focusing fire on one spot.
In Battlefront 2015, you could go into a room and claim that room all by yourself.
It was completely anti-team based. It was every man for himself.
This one, you really need to make that push with your teammates. So if your teammates are going towards a section, you need to go to that section and help them out. That's how it runs. It's a really, really fun way to play a shooter.
I'm going to say this. It's not really as easily accessible as Battlefront 2015.
It is not.
It's very skill-based. I mean, I'm a pretty good player at Battlefront, and I do get top player in Battlefront 2 occasionally. I want to say like once every 3 games. But, there's a lot of the players that, wrecked in Battlefront 2015 that come into this game and perform really well. Because it's really about your skill. Because it's not going to, your skill from Battlefront 2015 is not going to completely transfer because you have to relearn. But if you played Battlefront 2015 like us at launch, throughout its lifespan, you're going to be inherently better than any accessible player.
If you play shooters, or
you obviously
if you
improve.
have knowledge of shooters, you will be able to get into a game of Battlefront. It is accessible to a level depending on the game mode. I think Assault on Thieves is much more accessible than Strike.
Yeah,
Strike is very... People are everywhere. You're getting stabbed in the back so much.
Yeah, but I just wish they made it a little more easily accessible. But I'm not complaining about it because I like a challenge. I'm just thinking about it for other people that, are picking up this game for the first time rather than having a long history from Star Wars games. Because there's going to be people that look at Battlefront 2, hey, that looks like a fun game, and they start playing it and get into the entire Star Wars universe.
Yeah. There are people that's got into Star Wars through Battlefront.
And eventually, throughout the years, Battlefront 2.
It's a deeper game than Battlefront 2015 in many ways. The gameplay's deeper. It's much more customizable now. You can customize how you want to play your character with the star card system. Loot crates, as we said before, are super, super fun. I'm really looking forward to see how they take in all of these, all the feedback into the full release. And now we have Twitter topics. I posted on our Twitter at SWB Podcast, twitter.com/SWB Podcast, putting together the SWBP 100 show notes. What are your thoughts on Battlefront 2? Sean from the 412, at Sean from the 412, says, I don't like the respawns instead of a clock, especially on Strike when it goes to overtime and then ends unexpectedly like a soccer game. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I noticed that. And plus, Strike in general is not balanced at all. The resistance wins every time, really.
Resistance. Yeah.
Even I watched a Battlefront Updates video on Strike, and he said the exact same thing. Like 80% of the time, the resistance wins.
Yeah, you have to have a very coordinated team.
Yeah, you have to be like in a party with all 8 players to win every lobby.
Yeah. And this Saturday, Saturday the 7th, I want to put together a PlayStation party. So if you're on PlayStation, you've got the beta, send us a friend request. It's Tie-Dye Sheep Films, TYEDYESHEEPFILMS. Send us a friend request, and we can all get into a party and play Battlefront.
Yeah, and about the comment, he said something about the time. I do think the time needs to be cut down, at least in the lobby waits. I mean, you're waiting 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I know I'm not. It sounds really impatient, but
it's
look,
hard to do though, unless they do it in post.
If you play a lot of games, those 2 minutes add up, and you're spending your time on a game that you want to have fun, and waiting 2 minutes, waiting for the clock to count down, is kind of annoying.
Yeah. What I really want them to do is, I love the look of the spawn-in screen, but it takes 10 seconds, which, as you're saying, as you die, adds up.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that once you spawn in immediately, and then your teammates are assigned.
And that's another thing. Like, if you're the first in the squad, you got to wait 10 seconds. But if someone else that comes in later gets into your squad, they don't have to wait the full 10 seconds, just the amount of time subtracted from what you waited. So, like, say they join your lobby, you've been waiting 7 seconds, they only have to wait 3 seconds. So it's kind of a saving grace. Sometimes you get really lucky and don't have to wait at all. Sometimes a lot of your players die and you get a full squadron. You don't have to wait at all.
Trevor at SOYK_Trevor. Galactic Assault is far too short for Battlefront 2's largest game mode. Also, it feels a bit empty. I feel the same way. The first phase really feels empty.
It does. I have a hard time finding players.
And I don't know how they would address that.
It's got a lot of players.
It's got 20 players on each side. It seems like it's hard to find people.
It is, but I have a route that I've established that I know like where the enemies are going to be. That I go every single time.
Yeah.
Like right when you spawn in, if you go left and go straight to a certain point to where, if you're the clones, to where you can see the MTT, it's in a sight. It's kind of in between where the straight path is, where the MTT travels to the palace, and the other side where there's the river. It's kind of in the middle of that. If you camp there, then an entire squadron of droids will come.
Yeah.
I mean, I might make a video on some of the routes to take, but I do agree it feels empty, and the game modes. I mean, at first I was getting full throne room games every single time, but the more I play and the more everyone else plays, the better they get at finding those ion disruptors and using them and winning faster.
Yeah. Right now it's a learning phase, so we'll eventually start getting getting the hang of where people spawn, where people go, and that kind of thing.
I personally think they should have gone the Death Star game mode route, to where the first phase was extremely easy to get. You know?
Yeah.
Just so they automatically make it past that phase.
I like how the phases flow together. There isn't a stop and then restart in. It's a continuous phase as the game mode continues. And if you didn't know, the Death Star DLC had 3 phases. The first phase was in space, and then it transitioned with a cutscene into indoors. And then after that phase was completed, it transitioned with another cutscene to space battles again. This time it's a clean sweep. There's no cutscenes at all.
And it brings me in another critique. Say you're on the clone side and you're falling back to the palace because they made it past the throne room. No matter where you are in the map, it's going to return to combat. Have you... your screen turns gray, and you have to make it all the way up this palace stairs, no matter where you are. Say you were farming kills behind enemy lines, you're not going to make it back. You're going to automatically die from 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spawns and boundaries are always strange in Battlefront games.
I mean, it's necessary to keep people from
just going and swimming in the duck
camping. Camping the droids and killing them, but they could make it smoother and give them more time to make it back.
One last response. Adam Seary at Adam Seeary says it's way too hard for average players, which makes getting enough battle points for a hero nearly impossible.
I do feel you
earlier.
I mean, I do have a hard time getting the battle points, but it's really weird. One game I'll get really fast battle points. Another game it'll be like I'm just having a hard time getting to the 5,000 mark. It's all a matter of time. As long as you have a long game mode and you're playing relatively well, you'll get it.
Yeah.
But
because hero turnaround's really fast.
It seems like battle points are extremely hard to get. I mean, I'll get 4 to 7 kills on one life, and I'm like, ooh, I got so many battle points. I look, and I have 1,700.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. And plus, the officer got nerfed so hard. He was a really surefire way to get battle points by, even at the start of the game, like, how the back to bomb, you'd get a lot of points by spamming your trigger when you spawn in with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
I do that, and it gives me 0 points. I mean, I used to get like 250 to 350 in the pre-alpha.
Yeah. It's definitely weird. That's something that I know will change. How many points and how many points you get per kill.
I personally have no surefire way to get battle points other than killing the enemy.
Yeah. The objectives are really unclear on how you should earn battle points there.
Yeah, and the objectives are really unclear, period. I mean, if you're the droids, you're trying to, quote, stop the clones from getting their ion disruptors.
Which basically just means kill the clones.
Yeah, killing. Which isn't clear, and it doesn't give you a certain objective point.
I would like to see them add a control section, a control circle around the disruptors. That way you have to actually claim that section and then pick up the the disruptors. That way you actually, okay, yeah, this is an actual way to defend the disruptor.
Yeah, and there's more to Battlefront than killing. And that's really their focus, because that's the best way to get battle points.
Yeah, you definitely have to coax the players to play the objective more. So, the last thing, the two things regarding the podcast episode. If you've listened this far, you are an amazing listener, and we want to hear more of your feedback. We've been going 100 episodes. We hope to go 100 more, and we want feedback. So if you're a new listener, you've listened all this way. If you're an older listener, you've listened all this way. Please go leave us a review on iTunes or send us an email on feedback on how we can improve. If you're a new listener in particular, how can we make it easier for you to get involved in the podcast and interact with us? And if you're an old listener, same thing. All of our listeners are amazing people.
Yeah, and also when you leave a review, you're entered to our giveaway.
Yes.
So it's not like you wasted 5 minutes of your life. You could potentially win a copy of Battlefront 2.
And we really appreciate every single review. We read every review, we read every email, we read every tweet. So we want feedback in as many ways as you would give it to us. Thank you for 100 episodes of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. If you would like to reach us on Twitter, it's at SWBP Podcast. Our Patreon is patreon.com/Battlefront Podcast. We're working on an exclusive show. We just released an exclusive clip from episode 99 on there. Unheard by anybody except for patrons or PayPal supporters. Our PayPal is paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep. If you would like to listen to the exclusive content through PayPal, just email us if you're a PayPal supporter and let us know that you'd like to listen to some of the content on Patreon. Leave us a review on iTunes and you're entered for our Battlefront 2 giveaway. Our YouTube channel is the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast. We've got 113 subscribers there. Would really appreciate if you helped us out that way. Just search the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast on YouTube and we'll come up. Our email, if you'd like to leave us feedback, is battlefrontpodcast@gmail.com. You can listen to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. As always,
thanks for listening.
and may the Force be with you.